Hey guys, what's up? It's Sorky Revolution back with another video. And today, I got quite an interesting topic to talk about. Do you ever just worry when you see these crazy challenges and think of all the ways they can go wrong? Do you ever just squirm every time someone falls on a heights over water challenge? Well, today, I'm going to be looking at some of the craziest injuries ever sustained on the challenge. I do want to make it clear that craziest doesn't always mean severe. I mean, there have been plenty of crazy injuries where they were healed within the next week, no matter how scary they were. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Cue the new intro.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take the money and run, TJ.
I'll win every fight.
Rookie Revolution.
This is a game!
Just a little disclaimer for the first one. It is a bit gross, so I will be blurring it ever so slightly. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a quick honorable mention, because I don't know if everyone would classify this as an injury. I personally do though, and this one was bizarre. It was Abram getting stung by a swarm of wasps on the island. We all know that the island was a very different season. So different in fact, that they had to fend everything for themselves pretty much. The food supply was very limited. So Abram went out and saw a fruit tree and he climbed up to grab some fruit from it.
This beautiful fruit drops right in front of us. We all look up into the tree and sure enough, there's more fruit up in there.
But what he did not see as he was picking the fruit was the huge wasp nest. And while picking fruit, Abram ended up irritating them so much that he literally got stung all over his body. Abram is a guy who branded his chest with 2 huge scars, yet he said the wasp attack was the most painful thing he has ever gone through in his life.
The guy is swarmed in wasps. Oh, horrible.
This really was just crazy because 1, I don't think we would ever see anything like this on the challenge again, and 2, the way Abram handled it was amazing. He was just smiling and laughing and doing his signature scream, but it was just super enticing to watch. Again, this might not be classified as an injury, and it did heal quickly, like very quickly, but that's why it's only an honorable mention.
I'm alright, I'm just a little swollen.
Now at number 5, we have Jenna hurting her foot on Champs vs. Stars. This was an extremely serious injury that did not look that serious at first. In the daily challenge, Parkour the Course, you have to be an offense to someone from the opposite team, either tagging them or getting flags depending on the turn you are on. Well, Jenna's opponent was Sean Johnson, an Olympic gymnast. Sean obviously is very skilled at this type of challenge, so when there was a high jump, Sean did not hesitate. And in the moment with adrenaline, Jenna took the big jump as well, and she landed right smack dab on her ankle and was instantly in pain. Everyone, including her at first, thought it was just a sprain, but I think in the back of everyone's minds, they knew it was worse. Dr. Bananas even had a very insightful look at it with his medical knowledge.
Guys, I don't think there's anything in here. What do we do about that? Why do I hear laughing down here? Zach? No. I hear another heartbeat.
After an hour, the thing was swollen like a huge balloon. Jenna went to get it checked out and found out that she had seriously fractured her foot.
I fractured my foot, had to push it, pull it, and crack it into place, get surgery and plates and stuff in it.
It was bad, and this injury was not quick to heal. At the Dirty 30 reunion, she had a full-duty cast on with crutches, and she had to sit out of Vendettas because of the injury. Also, when she competed on Final Reckoning, you could see some braces around her feet. It took a long time to heal, and I personally think she lost a lot of muscle from this injury because she couldn't work out how she used to. I also want to mention that Jenna took this injury like a champ and showed incredible bravery with her reaction.
It's a little swollen. I should be good. I don't want to drag the team down.
At number 4, we have one of the most iconic injuries ever seen on the challenge. It is when Siobhan busts her breast implants on the ruins. Listen, this isn't a funny injury at all, but it was a really funny injury. During the swing on by challenge, you have to swing on a rope to get to a platform. Siobhan had no grip strength and absolutely could not hold on to the rope. So when she fell into the water, she landed weird and felt instant burning and pain. She declared that she thought she busted her bongo implant, which had her go off into an ambulance and quit the game.
Daddy, I think I busted my implant! I don't give a I think I popped my implant.
TJ said one of the most savage things that was never aired on the show. I'm not gonna say the word, so here's a clip.
Sorry about your titties.
Those were TJ's last words to Siobhan. Siobhan later declared that she never busted her jingle bells, but on Cutthroat, she still had PTSD from a heights over water challenge.
My body is having a panic attack. I've never felt it before. This is torture.
When I look into Siobhan's eyes, I don't see fear, I see terror.
Nonetheless, Siobhan thinking she popped her dinosaur eggs was hilarious to watch. And I do have to give her credit for going again even after being in incredible pain. Next up, we got Leroy getting knocked out in the water on vendettas. This happened on the Daily Challenge car crash, where all you had to do was jump from car to car 30 feet above the water. For a very simple challenge, it might very well be the most dangerous challenge of all time.
That was hands down the most dangerous thing we've ever done. The way Leroy hit this car and then fell into the water, you knew before he hit something was wrong. He hit the water, came to the surface face down, and didn't move for like 10 seconds.
I think everyone got injured on this challenge somewhat. For example, Banana's huge bruise on his thigh, and Zach and Nelson needing stitches from going through the windshield. But as I have implied, the worst injury by far was Leroy. Leroy started off this challenge very strong until he got to the third car. Just then, Leroy hit his chin on the back of the car and got completely knocked out. He had a very, very scary acrobatic type of fall flipping in the water and emerged from the water, head down, looking lifeless. Everyone was scared to the core because when someone is knocked out underwater, not moving, you would obviously think they are dead.
I'm terrified. Watching your best friend emerge out of the water, lifeless, it's absolutely terrifying.
Rescue went to get Leroy and he woke up in the ambulance and went to the hospital. He thankfully ended up being just fine and was able to compete at the next challenge. But honestly, this was a really scary thing to happen, and I am just so glad Leroy is okay because it could have been worse.
I was unconscious, spent the past 48 hours in the hospital trying to heal, and I just had a lot of water in my lungs.
At number 2, we have an injury that could have easily resulted in death. This is Tony rupturing his spleen on Battle of the Bloodlines. This happened on the Daily Challenge Meet Me Halfway, where you have to jump from platform to platform to hang up flags. A very simple challenge, but very difficult. Tony was doing really well in this challenge, but on his way back a second time, he jumped and nailed himself right on his stomach, falling into the water badly. Tony got up immediately and just thought he got the wind knocked out of him, and that was all. Tony then felt more sick as he was watching the rest compete, and he went to go to the hospital. At the hospital, they pretty much told him he is fine and could go back. Tony came back to the house and after a few hours literally looked like death. He was pure green. He literally looked like the Incredible Hulk's twin brother.
Green, bro. Rough couple days, my man. His face is almost a green color. He looks like death.
I have never seen a person look as sickly.
I've never seen anyone look like The Walking Dead. He's green.
Tony tried ignoring it and declined medical attention, but when he went to go to the elimination arena, he passed out and had to go back to the hospital where they discovered he ruptured his spleen and they had to do an emergency surgery to remove it. I have heard Tony lost 4 pints of blood, and I have also heard that if he waited a day longer to go to the hospital, he would have possibly died due to internal bleeding. And that's just wow. Like, how do the doctors miss internal bleeding and a ruptured spleen on his first visit? Tony got a massive, massive scar over this, and this is definitely the closest call a challenger has ever had to death on the show from a challenge. Thank goodness he is okay.
I learned that I have lost a lot of blood internally, and I have a ruptured spleen. They're gonna do emergency surgery.
I honestly thought my brother was gonna pass.
Next up, I got one last honorable mention, and this goes back all the way to season 4 of the challenge dubbed Extreme Challenge. Now, this was not a cast member that got injured, but a tester for the challenges, as they always have people test the challenges before the cast attempts them. The challenge in question was called Human Catapult, and it just literally catapulted you like crazy. There wasn't much to it. The cast arrived and so the tester broke their leg testing it, so they pretty much refused and then they just ended up scrapping the challenge altogether. This is the only time I personally know of that they ended up scrapping a challenge due to safety reasons. And also, I mean, come on, how is a human catapult a good idea? I feel bad for the crew member whose leg got broken.
There's this lady who has a body cast on and another guy that's got his leg wrapped up. We're like, what happened to you? They're like, oh, we tested the catapult.
Now, I am sure some of you have guessed number 1 already. And if you guessed Jordan from Dirty 30, you would be right. We all know this one. In the Dirty 30 final, the first thing they had to do was skydive to location. Well, Jordan was pumped to say the least, as he loves adrenaline junkie stuff like this. Everything was going well, but when they were approaching landing, Jordan's parachute did not work properly, and they landed very, very hard on the ground, giving Jordan a pretty nasty fracture in his leg. Not only that, but the professional with him actually broke his arm as well.
Or come down a little hot.
Jordan comes crashing into the earth.
But with Jordan running a final with a leg fracture, it really wasn't a joke, and before it started, I was surprised they didn't medically DQ him, but they just let Jordan walk it off. Jordan ended up competing in the final, and not only that, he actually ended up winning the final with a leg fracture. That is one of the most impressive things in challenge history. It is also ironic that Jordan made fun of Cara Maria for being scared skydiving, just for Cara to do just fine.
Cara is in full panic attack. I can't help but laugh. It's really funny. There's a high chance he's slamming the ground, going 120 miles an hour.
All in all, this really was just a crazy injury. Thank you all so much for watching. Before I say anything else, I am sure you have all noticed my new logo. I just want to say the person who made it wants to remain anonymous, but they are incredibly talented, and thank you so much again. If you have any injuries I missed in this video, let me know down in the comments below for a potential part 2. Next video may or may not be related to OGs, so stay tuned for that. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at RickyRevo, link in the description. And until next time, take care.